the required language for the audio meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Raymond Tejas, Executive Director of the Camino Real RMA. I'll start off with a roll call. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Byrne?
Here.
Ms. Bird?
Here.
Mr. Lamantia? Mr. Lamantia? You might be
I
on
thought he
mute.
was here.
Yes, ma'am. We heard him come in. Mr. Lamantia? Let's come back to him. Mr. Zaragoza?
He just joined as well. I see he's muted.
Mr. Zaragoza?
Hey Raymond, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning, welcome.
Good
Mr.
morning.
Reyes?
Okay, so we have a quorum.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Reyes?
I'm here, present.
Thank you very much. We do have a quorum. So these are the COVID-19 notices pursuant to the suspension of certain open meetings laws by Governor Greg Abbott. This CRRMA board meeting is being held by video and telephone conference. In accordance with the various federal, state, and local orders, the public may participate in the meeting using the video link or telephone conference information found on the CRRMA's website and on the posted agenda. This meeting is also being recorded and will be made available on the CRRMA's website as soon as possible after conclusion of the meeting. During the meeting, each board member making a motion or a second should state who made each. The chair will then call for those in favor, against, or abstaining. The public is invited to participate in the meeting just as with all CRRMA meetings. If you're interested in asking a question or providing a comment, please submit a comment in the chat function of the video component or ask to be recognized by phone. If there are no questions from the board, we're ready to begin with the chair reading item number 2 into the record.
Are there any public comments?
No, ma'am, none received.
Okay, then I'll move to item number 2, which is adoption of minutes from the board meeting of May 12th, 2021. Has everyone had a chance to review them? And if so, barring no amendments, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion. I second it, Sissy Bird.
So we have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Our motion passes. Item number 3, presentation, discussion, and action on a board resolution authorizing the award of the El Paso County Passenger Shelter and Sidewalk Programs to the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, as read into the record, this is item number 3. I'm pulling up the PowerPoint to your screen. Raymond Tejas again with the Camino Real RMA. This is for the selection of the lowest responsible bidder for the El Paso County Passenger Shelters and Sidewalks Program, which is part of the program that we've developed with El Paso County. So we're going to go through the background and purpose of the project, the scope, timelines, bids received, and then we're going to ask for authorization to select the lowest bidder. This is, as I mentioned, an El Paso County project. This was let on May 25th of this year. The construction procurement will result in the selection of a contractor. Now, this one is a little bit unique, and we've talked a little bit about this program before. What we have, are you seeing?
No.
Yeah, okay. So Robert, I'm showing a notice that somebody else has started sharing.
Yeah, I don't know who's sharing now.
I may be guilty. I was trying to zoom out.
Okay, would you hit I think deny, and then Raymond,
Yes.
try resharing?
While we're doing this, Joyce, is there any word on when we can start meeting in person?
Raymond, would you like me to bring it up?
Yes, please.
Raymond,
Yes, ma'am.
while he's bringing it back up, do you have any information on when we can start meeting in person?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. Okay, I've spoken with the city clerk. The city council is following the governor's directives, and the governor just passed another emergency order last Friday, which extends the changes to the Open Meetings Act for another 30 days. So the city clerk is saying that council will be following whatever direction that the state gives through the governor's orders. So that means another 30 days of no meetings. Now, I did mention the desire of this particular board to meet in person. So she's contacting one of the assistant city attorneys that's in charge of those activities to see if there's a way for us to do in-person meetings using city facilities, or as was discussed last time, if we need to go off campus. So that's in discussion with their city attorney's office. But I will tell you, if we want to use city facilities, my understanding as of right now is that for another 30 days from last Friday, at a minimum, city council will not be holding in-person meetings.
All right.
So that's the latest. But I'll keep you posted after I have another discussion with city clerk and the city attorney's office.
All right.
Okay, so let's try it this way. Robert, will you, thank you. Okay, so back to this. So we're talking about El Paso County Passenger Shelters and Sidewalks Program, let on May 25th. This is a unique one in that you may recall we've developed a program of projects for the county related to various sidewalk projects, various bus passenger shelters. And really what we've done is we've taken a number of funding sources from El Paso County and merged them into a singular program. The idea then through this particular procurement is to bring on a construction contractor that will be available to us once the individual design programs for whether it's sidewalks or shelters or both, once those come online, then we can go back to this almost like an on-call construction contractor to provide the sidewalks and shelters and other amenities that are requested by the county. So that's what this procurement is. It's so what you're going to see in the following pages is the initial project, which is the one that we selected this particular contractor for, and then later I will bring back in effect amendments to this contract with additional sidewalks and shelter projects. So this initial project budget comes from El Paso County funds, and you will see us enter into agreements with El Paso County managing we're going to manage the construction, and of course we're using our general engineering consultant team, which is Atkins, to do the management. So that's the same. So this initial project scope is in Canutillo for sidewalks. So part one, or phase one of the project, includes a 5-foot reinforced concrete sidewalk, and I'll show you exactly where that is, along with curb and gutter driveway improvements on La Union and Central Avenues there in Canutillo. There's a second phase to this, which includes shelters, the installation, the design, construction, and installation of 4 passenger shelters. And again, this is the very beginning of the passenger shelter program that El Paso County has asked for assistance with. And you see the different areas. We're putting them in Homestead Meadows and Tornillo and Horizon City and Westway. So to give you a better feel, here's an aerial of the sidewalk program. So this is La Union Avenue in Canutillo, and this is Central Avenue. And these were high priorities for El Paso County. And so those will be the first sidewalks coming in under the program. Here's an aerial showing you the different locations for the various shelters that are being placed that we discussed. So these are the initial four coming in under this program. And here, and of course, this PowerPoint is part of your backup, so you can spend a little more time looking into this if you're interested, seeing the aerials of the specific locations where the shelters will be placed. Role of the county is to provide the construction funding and, of course, guidance for us as the ultimate project owner. Of course, we'll build these amenities and turn them over to the county. The role of the RMA is to prepare and let the project for construction bids, which we've done, and then provide construction management services consisting of oversight, engineering, testing, inspection, and of course, record keeping. So we will do all of that for them. And on that note, we will be back likely next month with the agreements with our general engineering consultant team, as well as the designer of record, to allow us to provide those services to the county on this particular project. Here's a timeline. We first advertised May 2nd. We had a second advertisement on May 9th, and the bids were opened on May 25th. So that shouldn't say proposed, that should be actual. June 9th today, we're looking to see if you will award the project to the apparent low bidder. And then in July, hopefully we will be back with a construction agreement along with agreements with our general engineering consultant team and designer of record. And construction, we are hopeful we could begin as early as August. That in part depends upon the construction contractor and their timelines as well, though. So if we are able to start in August, we would work a standard week. We think about 4 months is enough for this particular project. Here are the received bids. Hawk Construction was shown as the apparent low bidder at $530,000. The engineer's probable cost of construction, or the estimate that we came in with, was $483,000. So you're seeing the bids for construction activities increase on this particular project, just as you are throughout all of the other industries. Now, thankfully, it was not significant. But it was higher than we originally anticipated. We worked with El Paso County to make sure that they are interested in pursuing. And I'm assuming we have a representative from El Paso County with us today, but I don't see them on the list. But they are supportive of this. So with all of that in mind, then I'm seeking a motion to approve a board resolution to do two things. One, select Hawk Construction as the lowest responsible bidder in the recent RMA procurement. And two, to authorize the RMA staff to negotiate a construction contract with Hawk Construction. We would bring back that construction agreement along with the other agreements, as I've mentioned, future board action. So subject to your questions, then I would recommend approval of this item.
I have a question.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Bird?
Do you want two motions, or do you want one to cover the staff and the lowest bidder?
Well, actually, a motion to approve the RMA board resolution, which includes both items, would be fine.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept Hawk as the lowest bidder and to authorize the CRRMA staff to negotiate.
I have a motion.
Madam Chair, I have okay, I'll second the motion, but I have a question.
Sure.
Have we ever done any business with Hawk Construction before, Raymond?
We've not significant work. We have brought them on whenever Sun Cycle, our Sun Cycle program requires placement of certain concrete pads. We've used them for that, but outside of that, we've not used them. However, El Paso County has, and the city of El Paso has, and we've heard positive remarks from each of those entities.
Okay, thank you. I'll
Yes,
second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Do we have any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item 4, discussion and action on board resolutions related to the Sun City Bike Share Program regarding A, People for Bikes grant agreement, and B, sponsorship agreement.
This one I'll ask Robert Studer to provide some information on these items.
Good morning, Robert Studer, Director of Finance for the CRRMA. Have some really exciting news that I'm looking forward to sharing with you all this morning. first, let's talk about the People for Bikes grant, and I've got a PowerPoint to show to you all. Just as a little bit of background for the new board members, this is a program that the CRRMA actually owns and operates. It's the one program we do own and operate. We had a lot of startup capital 5.5 years ago to buy bikes and stations, and have been operating using those initial startup funds. However, those funds are winding down, and we first went to the finance committee and then to the full board with a plan to make the program self-sustainable. As background, bike share programs across the country do not make enough off of their fees alone to support their operations, so they get sponsorships or grants, or they get funding from local public entities or things like that. And so as part of that, we reached out to our SunCycle team about ideas for a grant. We're interested in pursuing something related to art and celebrating the murals of Segundo Barrio. So we applied for a Bike with People for Bikes, an organization that promotes ridership and biking activities, and we're awarded that grant. So the exciting part is we actually, right when we applied for the grant, you may have seen in the New York Times an article highlighting the highlighting the murals in Segundo Barrio that we in fact are also going to highlight. So our grant will fund 7 local artists to paint one of our bikes to look similar to a mural that exists in Segundo Barrio, one of their own, or there's some murals that the artist is unknown. We'll then place graphics on the front baskets of the bikes that include information about the artist and the program, and actually a QR code that users can scan with their phone, and then we'll give them a map on their phone that they can follow to ride, see that specific mural. We've also reached out to Barracuda PR, who's going to help us with photo and video documentation of the program, social media outreach, coordination with the artists themselves, and then a launch event. Here is a demo bike that was done by one of the SunCycle employees to show what's possible. You can see on the front, there's the basket. I think on the other side is where the QR code is, but the bike has been painted to look similar to an existing mural. This is another mural that's down there with the bike in front of it, but the idea of the program is to draw attention to the SunCycle program and increase ridership and therefore revenue for the program itself. And we hope to get a lot of public awareness and maybe some news articles related to that. Well, I apologize. When I PDF this did not end up looking too good. So the total grant award is for $4,300. We're going to work with 7 artists, giving each of them a $500 stipend that totals $3,500, and then $100 for the art supplies for each of them, which gets us to $4,200, and then $100 will be used for clear coat to kind of lock in the paint, make sure that it doesn't chip off easily so we can preserve the work and it lasts as long as possible. And so that is the budget for the program. And that's all I have on this one of my 2 items. Are there any questions related to the mural program?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Bird.
I have a question, but my question was actually answered yesterday when I was listening in on the planning committee. But I'm gonna ask my question just in case anybody else was wondering. I was wondering how many bikes there were, but that was answered yesterday with 7. And also, I wanted to know if at first I have a comment before my question. I just want to say I think this is an excellent program, for the simple fact that it's promoting the artists and it's promoting El Paso. So I just want to say, this is excellent for us. But my question is, for the artists, is it only going to be the artists that were chosen? Or say in later dates, maybe you're looking at different artists that may be added? And the murals, toward something else.
Well, so the grant is, we do have to spend the funds, I think, by the end of August or September, and so we're gonna use artists that have existing murals in the Segundo Barrio area, and again, we've brought on Barracuda PR, who has some relationship with those artists, so that we can engage with them. So I don't believe we've selected the artists yet. We know some that are still around and we can get a hold of. There may be others, but we're going to work with Barracuda on the selection of the artists. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, if there's no further questions on that one, I then have got some more exciting news. So today, 4B, the sponsorship agreement, we have been negotiating with El Paso Electric to become our title sponsor. And today we're asking for you all to approve a resolution that allows us to enter into an agreement with El Paso Electric to become the title sponsor of the SunCycle Bike program. This will provide us a substantial amount of funding. It does not make the program whole yet. I still have more selling I need to do and more sponsors to find in case any of you are interested, but it does go a long way in making the program more sustainable. It's a 3-year agreement. It's worth $75,000 each year. We are, as part of the agreement, they are going to put their logo and branding on the back parts of the bikes. There's a splash guard on each of the bikes, and so they will be able to advertise on that. So when someone is walking past the bike share and you have the kiosk and the docks all lined up, they will see that repetitive logo over and over again. When you check out an app on the app, you will be able, check out a bike on the app, you also will have a pop-up that says this, ride brought to you by El Paso Electric. And the same when you go to the kiosk and you check out, you'll do all the things you need to do, and then it'll say sponsored by El Paso Electric. And then we're going to also put their logo on the top of each of the kiosks as well as on the maps. And so this is really exciting news and a huge day for the SunCycle program. And so with that, I'll take any questions, but ultimately ask for a motion from you all to approve the resolutions related to both the the People for Bikes grant agreement and the sponsorship agreement with El Paso Electric.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mean to keep asking questions, but I'd be wanting answers. On the sponsorship, so since the electric company is doing the first year, when you're saying you're looking for other sponsors, so you're looking for sponsors for the next year, or are you looking for sponsors to combine on a year?
Yes, ma'am. So the sponsorship with El Paso Electric is for a 3-year agreement. We will need additional sponsors, and we'll be searching out for additional sponsors to go along each of those 3 years. We may find a sponsor that wants to sponsor for 6 months or a year or 2 years, but this is a 3-year sponsorship with El Paso Electric. We will search for additional sponsors for the program.
Robert, could you outline the different amenities that are offered for different sponsorships?
Yes, so we've got the front baskets on all our version 1 bicycles. We've got kiosk sponsorships for stations, and we are working. We've got another potential sponsor that we've provided some agreements to and are hoping we can close with them and maybe have that ready for July. And then we've got the electric bikes and any future purchases of electric bikes that the front basket would be available to sponsors. And as we've discussed with the board before, those electric bikes get ridden very frequently. Our users seek them out. They're really fun to ride. If you haven't ridden one, I highly recommend it. But we can still provide to sponsors the front of the electric bikes, the front of the 10, 5, 20, 50 of the version 1 bikes, and on the station kiosks themselves.
Robert, do you have a target amount of money that make the program viable year after year?
Yes, we do. So we've taken that and talked in more specifics with the committee. We're hoping to run at our current operating levels, we would need about $100,000. We would like to add another $20,000 to $25,000 on top of that each year to help cover capital purchases, including new e-bikes as we transition the fleet to e-bikes. So this being $75,000 is a really good move in that direction, but we have more that we need to do to keep it self-sustaining.
Thank you.
Well, this is really good work, guys. That's a big sponsorship. So great job. The art program is really nice too.
Thank you. Our ridership.
Glad to see that's moving along.
Our ridership and our revenue has remained strong. You may recall last year we had the dip when the pandemic first started in March and April, but our revenue and ridership continues to remain strong, and so that obviously helps cover some of that cost as well. We kind of based our numbers of how much we needed to make off of last year's revenue, but last year's revenue was depressed a little bit, so we made our target a little bit larger. But yes, we're very excited for this, and Yeah,
Good
Thank you.
job.
thank you.
Okay, so are there any other questions or comments? If
Very,
not,
very well done,
can
guys.
I get do we need a motion? We need a motion on the resolution, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I
This is
get a
Pat
motion?
Burns, so moved.
Okay,
I second it, Sissy Bird.
okay, so we have a motion and second, Mr. Burns, Ms. Byrd, second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 5, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution of an advanced funding agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation for the I-10 widening project.
Yes, ma'am. So you will probably remember this when we came to you all in April on this one. This relates to of course, the I-10 widening project that we are assisting TxDOT and the city of El Paso on. We have for that one a state infrastructure bank loan where the RMA is taking down $30 million in debt and using the transportation reinvestment zone number 2 as the repayment source, which is owned by the city of El Paso. This document that you see here as part of the backup is the advanced funding agreement whereby the RMA then turns just shy of $30 million over to the El Paso district so they can complete the I-10 widening project. So that's the partnership that we've created with the city and TxDOT on this particular project. As I mentioned, we brought this to you back in April. TxDOT has asked for an updated resolution. So this is more housekeeping than anything else. You've already reviewed it and previously approved it, but I would recommend approval of this board resolution so that we can complete this transaction.
If I may make a comment, Madam Chair, this is really, really big. I think I said that before when it came out because doing this in partnership and everything with the city and working through the TRZ funding process again and making that system work and work smoothly has a lot of just potential for the future and the different things we can do. So I think this is great. I think we ought to reiterate this, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second it.
Congressman Reyes seconded it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. I agree with Jim. Good job, guys. We've got a lot of new projects and good work going on, so I'm really glad to see the RMA getting a lot more exposure and involved with all these different agencies. When you do your next newsletter, make sure you're highlighting all the new stuff. The grant, the bike, all the stuff we discussed today is really great stuff, and so make sure we kind of continue to highlight that and bring attention to the partnerships we've got in place and things that we can continue to do.
Yes, ma'am. The next quarterly newsletter goes out after this board meeting, so in the next week or so. So we'll include all of these items.
Okay, great. And also maybe work with your marketing firm and put some plugs in there about the sponsorships and stuff like that,
Yes.
that are available.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So the last item we have is the quarterly presentation, update and discussion on the 2013 El Paso County Comprehensive Mobility Plan and the Borderland Expressway project. And then at the next meeting or two in the future, could we get an update on the next mobility plan, the one that the MPO is working on? Have they approved anything yet?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we can ask the executive director to brief us on the RMS 2020. Certainly, I'll ask
I
them
think
to.
that would be good just to kind of see what's going on and what's in the queue for the, next horizon of infrastructure. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I would appreciate that. I think everybody else probably would be interested too.
Certainly, I'll do that. Okay, so as read into the record, we're talking about the quarterly updates on the 2013 County Comprehensive Mobility Plan. So As we've done in the past few updates, this is included as backup for your review. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this particular item, the 2013 Comprehensive Mobility Plan. Otherwise, I'll add a couple of comments on the Borderland Expressway project, which is item B under 6. This item, we are, speaking of partnerships, we're working with the city of El Paso, very similar to the I-10 widening project. They have Transportation Reinvestment Zone number 3, which is located in the northeast. We have some debt issued off of that when we assisted on the northeast, the expansion of Loop 375 in the northeast. So there is some debt that's coming, that's winding down. So what we've been asked and what Robert and I have been doing is meeting with our financial advisors about different scenarios and if there's additional capacity from that Transportation Reinvestment Zone to allow us to issue another state infrastructure bank loan, whereby those funds could be used for the development of the Borderland Expressway project. So we're currently in that exercise right now, and we're hopeful that we can turn some data over to the city of El Paso within the next week or so they can begin having a conversation about whether they're interested in issuing additional debt, whether they're interested in us issuing additional debt for the development of that project. So that's what I have for you. I don't know if Mr. Smith has anything from the coalition side.
Yes, the Borderland Coalition have been meeting monthly. And as a refresher to you all, it's composed of all of the stakeholders associated with the Borderland Expressway project. That has the expenses to fund those coalition meetings, of which there's quite a bit of preparation done and things like that going on. The project is progressing very, very nicely within TxDOT. We have taken and are not going to have any formal consultant orchestrated updates, coalition meetings until September because of budget issues with TxDOT funding the consultants and other things going on. But the project is going very well. It is a phase 1 project, part of the project, which is the frontage road between Railroad and Dyer. That is progressing very nicely and is expecting to be outlined for funding through the MPO and TxDOT when their releases are made in the August-September timeframe. And then that coupled with the development plans for that new northeast development that Paul Foster is doing, there's a tremendous amount of life going into this project and the future funding and things to do. So the RMA's part in working with the city on TRZ number 3, that's some of that potential I was talking about where we can really do some neat stuff, partnering with the city and as we've done with the county and other people. So I am really optimistic about this project. As you know, we've been working on this for a long, long time. And I think it's going to be our coalition meeting we have in September. I think is going to be pretty exciting, things that come up. So that's my side of the update for that. It's everything I got except for some budget issues for consultants within TxDOT is all positive.
All right, thanks for the update. So maybe in the next couple of meetings going forward, we could get an update from the planning committee in terms of your meetings and what's going on. Would that be okay?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the planning committee met yesterday. We had a really good meeting and we had good participation. I'm we're kind of excited about what's out there and some of the avenues we want to pursue, and hope to bring to the full board some very definite targets that we can shoot for. The staff has done an amazing job in the action items that we had already put together from our retreat. And so we want to just continue that momentum going. And I think we've got an absolutely great committee.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Ms. Wilson, real quickly, so the Finance Committee will plan to meet either late June, early July, most likely, to review quarterly items and also look at the budget and investment policy. There's a chance we may push that meeting till after the July meeting and just
Okay.
bring everything to August, which would be a little bit later than we normally do. But I'll be working with Mr. Byrne as the chair to set up a time and either late June, early July, or mid-July, and then we'll bring everything to the board.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Raymond, on the letter that came from Joe Pickett, since we've already taken action on that, I don't really want to put it on the agenda to discuss it. Did you send him a copy of our board action or letter that we sent?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, he has that now.
Okay, so I think for right now, unless he wants to pursue it any further, I just think the fact that we've already addressed what he's asking us to address sort of nullifies that, okay?
Well, and I mentioned to him as well that because of the leadership change at TxDOT, meaning the executive director leaving, and in fact, the prior executive director leaving to a toll agency, I've made some assumptions that they were not interested in taking too many actions related to toll activities on his way out the door.
Yeah.
So since then, we've reached out to them again to remind them that we have this outstanding letter and request, and so hopefully we can get those conversations started again.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So with that, I don't have any more items on the agenda. There's no executive session. I did forget or should have mentioned that Robert has taken the lead on the sustainability plan for Suncycle, and I think he's done a really great job, as you mentioned. So I wanted to publicly thank him for that. Outside of that, I don't have any more agenda items for you all. So I think we're done.
I have a question. Did we do 6A?
Yes, ma'am. So that one, historically, the comprehensive mobility plan updates we provide as backup for you. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But we haven't been going through those page by page.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions or feedback? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Does Jim so move?
Sissy Bird, second.
Okay, great. All in favor? Aye.
No.
All right, thank you. Good work, everyone. Meeting's adjourned. See you soon, hopefully in person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Bye.
I've got
Raymond,
Bye.
I'll get in touch with you after this meeting.